Hey everyone, it's Henry at Mowers and Blowers. Good afternoon. Welcome back to another episode of my Yardman 8.5 26 dual stage snowblower that I got for free. That's right, free. It's taken about 5 episodes so far. I didn't think it would take that long to get this thing going, but as you know from a previous episode, I rebuilt the gearbox for the impeller shaft, the gear, as well as the auger blades, and I assembled this yesterday. The gearbox was in disarray because during the process of putting it back together, it had a small hairline crack in which I used JB weld to seal it. In addition, there were 2 broken bolts in the gearbox so that it prevents it from being adhered to, the 2 sandwiches, to complete the gearbox minus 2 bolts. So instead of 5, there's only 3 that are holding it together. It has a silicone gasket made by RTV silicone gasket on the inside. I used the Lucas Oil hub grease for the majority of the inner gearbox. Surrounding that area, I used NGLI number 2 Lucas Oil red and tacky spray grease to lubricate the components inside. Put it all together and I got it on here, and I thought I was gonna be successful in starting it up. Until the end of yesterday's video, I realized that the shear pins were not in here and these things moved freely, while I put a brand new shear pin on this side of the blades. I couldn't find the holes for this side of the blade. And then after realizing this side of the auger blades, I put it on backwards. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. So it had these 2 shear bolts that was in the bucket of parts that I got from the person who gave it to me. They were in bad shape. So I went to my box of parts and I have actually 2 brand new shear pins. I can't take this out right now because there's a bolt on the other end. But that's a brand new shear bolt. Put it right in there. Everything's fine. I proceed to come over here and I could not for the life of me find the hole to stick it in. That's what she said. Anyway, so I did some more research and I was looking at this part here, the inboard part of it, and as you can see, there's like not a flange, but the tubing sticks out, right? Now look at this side over here and the tubing does not stick out. The tubing is on that side. Whereas if you go to the extreme right, you can see that this does not have the tubing either. So basically, the part without the tubing is supposed to go here next to the gearbox, and the part with the tubing is supposed to go to the outer part along the exterior housing. So this needs to be flipped over like that so that the hole aligns around here. So basically, if you had the shear bolts in there, I wouldn't have had this problem. You could only put it on one way, which is a great design, because with the older Craftsmans, you could reverse everything and the shear bolts will fit either way. So this way it's designed that it's offset by 1 inch or so, that if you can't get the shear bolts in there, you know you put it in backwards. Unfortunately, this is not an easy fix, because to remove this and to remove that is easy. However, the entire assembly is attached to the now sealed gearbox because I've used JB weld to permanently encase the 2 halves for the gearbox. It's attached to the impeller shaft, attached to the impeller, and then to a bearing, then to a housing which is bolted in. So the only way to remove this assembly, to get it out and flip this the other direction, right, is to once again, for the 4th time, I'd need to split this in half. To split this in half, I'd have to remove this belt cover. I'd have to remove this assembly over here because you need to take this apart and put it to its side. So this needs to be taken off as well. Along with the wire, the cable that connects the spring to the tensioner arm in the auger engagement assembly. And that wire over here, the cable, needs to be disconnected from this handle. The only way to do that is to remove the handle all its own. So, I know it's a pain, and I know that I've done this already 3 times yesterday. What are you gonna do? You gotta do it, right? I mean, it's a tedious, monotonous work, and I've done it 3 times already, but what can I do? There's no way to get this out and flip it without taking this whole thing apart. You're just gonna have to do it. I used my Monster Beast as a guide because this Monster Beast is essentially the same exact snowblower as that, only bigger. This is also an MTD Yardworks, which is the Canadian version of Yardman. As you can see, the gearbox is a little bit different. It's more beefier, right? But it is rounded on the bottom and somewhat flat on the top. As you can also see, there's no piping here for the 2 auger blades that are next to the gearbox. And there is piping for the ones that are attached to the outer exterior bucket. So I know I put it in wrong. However, you also have to know that parallel blades are forming the shape of an A that moves upward like that, as opposed to a V, it was upside down. I've done that once before too. So basically, when this is shaped as an A, the diagonal parallel blades moving towards the upper part of this, it is actually grabbing snow and pushing it inwards to the center. If you had it upside down in a V formation, right, it would be actually pushing the snow outwards on each side. First thing we have to do is remove the 3 bolts that hold this up and down directional chute off of the main left and right directional chute. Now let's remove the handle to give it slack for the auger engagement cable. 1/2-inch bolt to remove the handle. As you can see, the auger engagement Z-bend cable has come out. It's the only way to get it out, but it's easy enough to do. Next thing we do is to remove the directional corkscrew turning lever. Comes right out like that. So now that's disconnected from here. Now I'm going to remove the 3 on this side, 3 on the other side, and break it in half again. Now with the 6 bolts removed, we can take the bucket off of the snowblower and break it in half. To make it easier, I'm going to take the belt cover off. It's just 2 3/8 that hold the belt cover on. And there we go. Comes right in half. As you can see, the belt is holding this on. I'm propping up the back of the snowblower with a chair so it doesn't go backwards, like so. And the belt cover comes right off. Let's engage the tensioner arm, which releases a brake. So now you can take the belt off. You can see you needed this. You needed to break the slack with this wire. If not, you wouldn't be able to break it off. So now we're going to remove the pulleys. It's a 1-inch crankshaft, 1-inch bolt for the impeller shaft. Has a washer on it. The 2 auger pulleys come off, and they go on only like this. If you don't put it on just like this, depression, it won't fit. If you put it this way, where it's out on each side, it'll be too fat. You couldn't fit it in there. See what I'm saying? You don't even see the things. So it has to be this way. Move the brake. And then like this. That's the only way this will fit. So it has to go in this way. Now the tough part. Ooh, I guess not. The spline comes right off. That's awesome. Remove these 3, and that should drop the actually, do I need to do that? Could the impeller just come right out without doing that? Let's see. Alright, well, we won't find that out until I take off the 3 bolts on each side to loosen the auger assembly from the bucket. Then we'll see if it pops out without having to remove this. I've already taken the other 3 off on the other side. Let's see if this pulls right out. And it does. Awesome. That was easy, actually. Okay. Now all we have to do is reverse this. I believe this to be true. Plastic flange and washer. Let me just study this for a second and make sure that it's an A formation, right? And indeed, as you can see here, shear bolt holes line up now. See that? Before I couldn't even see it. So it looks like this is it. Looks like that's correct. You know what? This washer goes on the inner part. Just notice that. I want to make 100% sure I do this right, because I definitely don't want to break this apart 5 times, you know? I'm going to re-grease this right now before I put it all back. I've just greased the shafts using red and tacky spray grease. This stuff is really easy to use. Just shake the can, spray it wherever you need to with the handy straw, you know. It's the same exact tacky grease as the one in the 14-ounce tube for your grease gun. It's NGLI number 2 rated. Excellent stuff. Makes things very convenient. So now we've got the auger blades placed on correctly, I believe. I'm gonna make 100% sure one more time, and then I'm gonna stick that shaft back through the bearing and tighten it up. So it looks like I've aligned it correctly. I do see the shear pin hole now. It doesn't hit like it did before. It used to hit the side bolt over there, and it is in the A formation, the parallel blades. This side is identical to this side now. So now I have affixed the 1/2 inch 3 bolts on each side. I'm just gonna sides. Honestly, that was pretty good. I didn't think it was going to be this easy. But then again, this is my 4th time doing it, you know? Okay, now the tricky part is to get the belts back on here again, along with that silly cable and the coupler. But the coupler seems to have just come off really easily. There you go. I'm going to give it a little bit of a tap. Wait a minute, is that right? Am I missing something? And now the shaft bolt, 1/2 inch with a washer. That's good. Now I'm just going to align the belts. Oh, I got to put the pulleys on. There you go. Should be easy. Ah! Forgot. Got to take this off first. Now we put the pulleys on underneath the cable. Take the brake out. See the brake? Yeah. Now we'll put this bolt back on. Make sure it's threaded correctly so you don't strip anything. Slow until it clicks. Do it until it stops. Now with this belt, disengage the brake, slip it through there, disengage the brake so it slips in between the brake and the pulley groove. That's one held in here like that. Second one goes. This is the first one I've seen with 2 belts on the same pulley assembly. I don't know why you need 2. Why not just 1? You know what I mean? So the key is you want to kind of bind this together so that this, while you're assembling this onto there, this doesn't slip off and then you have a tough time trying to get it back on again. So I almost want to get like a rubber band and rubber band these 2 together to keep the slack. Then when I get this thing on there, take the rubber band off, slip these over this pulley. And that ought to be much easier. You know, that really didn't take too long. Everything went on very easily. The handle went on. Z-bend with the cable that runs through this pulley. It's a little plastic one here. Runs through here into there. Replace this on here. Replace that. The belt cover back on. And now what I was trying to do yesterday, I can finally do today. As you can see, got a brand new shear bolt now. And it fits right in. I said it fits right in. I said, yeah. And then a stop nut on the other side, 1/2 inch. Just tighten both these babies on. We got two new shear bolts on here. And that ought to protect my permanently sealed gearbox. When I tried turning it yesterday with my hand, I couldn't do it, so I had to use channel locks on the shaft to try to turn it. And it's a little stiff, I'm not gonna lie. I'm hoping that after it turns for a little bit, it will loosen up, warm up, get the grease into places where it wasn't before, and it'll start to smooth up a little. Also, the new gear has to mate with the old gear. You know, the old gear may not have been so great with its threads, so the new gear should try to, whatever ground down, whatever is there to match the old gear, you know, maybe. The shavings do bother me, and it might have shavings, but you know what? You got to do what I'm given, right? Another alternative was to just go buy a new gearbox, but that's like, you know, $100 or something. You guys know me. This thing's not worth, I was looking online yesterday, something comparable to this, probably $300 now in New York. So snowblowers have definitely dropped their value quite a bit recently. Now this does have power steering, heated grips, and a light. So that might fetch me $400, $450. My next project will be to remove the starter motor from my push Craftsman in the back. That's a 522 that has absolutely no interest. Nobody really wants it, you know. So I'm thinking about taking that starter and putting it onto here. It looks like it'll fit because it's just 3 bolts, just like your typical Tecumseh starter, you know. So I know that starter works. I'd like to have a starter for this one because this one can go either way. I could either sell it for good money or keep it, because this is the baby beast to the monster beast, you know, and it's really nice. I mean, I like it. Still don't know if it, you know, what the work that I did to it works, but I can't start it up today because my son is in remote learning. So we'll have plenty of opportunities to start this up again. We know the engine runs pretty well. I didn't do a carb clean on it, I don't think, but it ran pretty well. So yeah, next I'm going to be putting on a starter for this, and that bolts right onto here with the 2 1/2 inch long studs. So aside from putting on a new starter for this thing, another thing it's missing is, if you take a look at the throttle lever, it's missing the knob, the little red plastic knob off of it. That really bothers me. And it's missing on a lot of machines, you know. Some of the stuff that I get, it's missing that knob. So it's kind of tough to come by. I have an old Edger engine, Tecumseh. It was blown, remember? This has a knob, but I can't get it off. It just won't come off. I don't know why. So I'm going to try to get this knob off a little bit and then put it on there. Yeah, baby. It's a little loose because I, you know, jarred it. I'm gonna put some Loctite in it. Super glue. That ought to do it. Nice. So that's it. Looks like it's pretty much 100%. Still have to try it out a day soon when my son's not in class, maybe the weekend. I actually have a shovel from Raoul's snowblower. If this all works great and everything, and I put the electric start on here and everything works great, I might keep it. I know, what am I going to do with it, right? But, you know, when you put so much work into it, you get attached to it, you know what I'm saying? And 350 bucks to me, is it worth it? I'll think about keeping it maybe. So I'll have a shovel starter if this gearbox works good. Just wanted to show you what was left over from what we replaced. This is the gear for the gearbox. It's DONESKI. Got the flange that's missing the entire lip. So essentially it's just a collar, not a flange. And this is what's left of the original bearing. No outer casing or anything. I didn't put that collar that it came with. It doesn't seem like it belongs there. We'll see if this runs sometime soon. Thanks a lot for joining me on this 5th episode of getting this 8.5 26 Yardman dual stage snowblower going. Looks like it probably will work. I have probably now a 75% possibility that it'll work. When I do start it up though, and I'm actually getting ready to engage the impeller and auger for the very first time, I'm gonna tread lightly, slowly move it down so that it slightly catches a little bit. Just slowly pulling it down so it catches a little bit, just so it starts to move a little bit. I'm not gonna go full power right from the start. I want it to kind of run a little bit. Get the grease flowing into the parts, you know? Maybe it'll start running a little bit smoother. We'll see sometime soon. My kids are done for the day with school. So now I'm gonna start it up and we're gonna test this baby. See if it spins. Full throttle, choke. Prime 3 times. The plot thickens. It's got gas. It needed a prime. Okay, let's try the auger. So, as you saw, the carburetor needs a cleaning for sure. Maybe that fixed pilot jet needs to be cleared of the top hole. Just did a video on that because it's surging. Also, Yes, I'm happy that the auger works and the impeller spins, but it kind of vibrates, huh? So I think maybe this thing is pushed out too much, because I see that there's some play in between the shaft and this outer shell here. So I think that might be it. So I might have to bang this in a little bit more. Same goes for this side. It's kind of pushed out a little bit. See the amount of space in between there? As this thing is kind of bowed out a little. Same goes for that side. There's almost an inch of space there. So I think maybe if, because as you can see, this is not perfectly straight. It's kind of bowed out right around here. So maybe I could push this in a little bit more, make up that space, and maybe it won't vibrate. Other than that, let me know what you guys think. Successfully, yes, it does spin and stuff, but it vibrates. And this is going to need a carburetor clean for sure. But at least we got to try it out, and looks like it works. See you guys later. See you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers. Hey, if you guys enjoyed the video, remember to give me a like. Also, comment below. Subscribe. Remember, it doesn't cost anything to subscribe. It's free, right? Also, hit that little bell. That way you'll get post notifications whenever there's a new video, and you won't miss out on any of them. Remember to follow my Instagram and Facebook, as well as if you'd like to donate $1 or $2, paypal.me/mowersandblowers. Really appreciate all the support. Also, to keep the videos coming every day, support the channel. Bye.